Good morning, all my friends. How are you this morning? Friday, the 5th of June. I'm at Peace Coffee House in McLeodganj, Dharamshala, having my morning cappuccino and trying to get my head wrapped around my last day in Dharamshala. I think the last 2 months for me have been bittersweet. It's difficult to really put into words. Perhaps I will have an opportunity when I return home to Cape Town to meet with some of you to explain what this journey has been all about. How much I've needed to reset my nervous system, to value and honor myself, to tap into past versions of myself, the child, the trauma, the wounding. But in all of that, the outcome really is to learn how to be present. How to be present and honest with myself, what I can and can't handle. And why has it become so difficult to say no and put the boundaries up? How do we get pulled into a stream of flow that is going to be more conducive for our authentic nature? And I can only give you these scenarios to ponder. I can only give you insight according to my own experiences, for you to take what resonates with you. But when it is taken, to understand that there needs to be a planning phase of implementation, and that strategy meeting you've got to have with yourself and your conscience. And coming back to yesterday's reading about intuition and integration, if we learn a truth, if we understand that there is a part of the knowledge now that is sacred within us, that burning fire wants to keep burning and expanding. We simply have to nurture it like a baby. I've been nurturing this for the last 13 years of my life. And knowing now how difficult it has been, I'm compassionate, I am empathic for those who can't find that peace, that sacred space and that stillness, because there hasn't been an integration. I've been forced to implement these things as part of a survival strategy. And now we're all catching up to each other. We're all in the same place, I feel, like we were in lockdown. We just flipped the script 180. We've gone from isolation into utter chaos and disaster, all running in different directions, wondering what is going to be the outcome of this world. Let's do today's reading. 4 kinds of virtuous men worship me, O Arjuna. They are the distressed, the seeker of knowledge, the seeker of wealth, and the wise, O Lord of the Bharata. Of them the wise, ever steadfast and devoted to the One, excels, For I am exceedingly dear to the wise, and he is dear to me. I like that word. I like being called dear and darling. How many things do we really hold dear to the heart? Do you get held in the arms of someone that says, my dear? I wish. To pray and to worship God motivelessly is, of course, good. Some people feel that it is a sign of depravity to pray for selfish ends and material advantages. Here Krishna disagrees. They who worship him for these are surely virtuous men, not necessarily wise. The poor man who prays to God for wealth is surely nobler and more virtuous than the thief. The sick man who prays for relief is better than the drug addict. In fact, one of the purposes of poverty and sickness is to turn man to God. I have to think about that for a little bit, because my example in the poor communities where I'm serving was just that, to be an example. I wasn't looking for perfection, and I didn't think I was going to save anybody. But what is happening now is a realization. And I've had to remove myself from that environment so people can feel consciously something is missing. Where is that little bit of light that used to be bobbing around here? One of the purposes of poverty and sickness is to turn man to God. Unconsciously, the poor and sick recognize this if they are virtuous, and that recognition or awareness comes by God's grace. Lots of booping and hooting outside. I'm going to read it again. Unconsciously, the poor and sick recognize this if they are virtuous, and that recognition or awareness comes by God's grace. A hot pan will burn your finger, whether you touch it knowingly or unknowingly. Even so, the fire of God's power will devour desire and ignorance, whether you touch it deliberately or accidentally. Thus, prayer is good, whatever the motive. When the prayer contact is made, the Lord's love burns to ashes all earthly desires and frees us from all selfishness and egoism. I feel that love. I feel that love. That's the abundance. And it is burning, and it's wanting to do something remarkable. It's wanting to create. It's wanting to unleash potential. It's wanting to recognize in others. However, this does not minimize the glory or unselfish love of God for his own sake. The wise man who loves God motivelessly is supreme. He knows the appearance as appearance, and therefore he knows the reality of the appearance. He is fully aware that the diverse world phenomena are purely manifestations of God's divine nature. Hence, he knows that he loves God because he cannot help doing so, since God is the very soul of his soul. God is the very soul of my soul and your soul and all the dog souls and all the other animals and every other human on this planet and the planet itself. Our earth is a living being. It's breathing. It feels us too. It wants to connect with us. And yeah, it wants to give us the wisdom that it holds, of course. He knows too that this eternal unity or oneness is expressed in him as irrepressible love. It has to flow over, right? He is the pure iron needle. God is the magnet. In this case, the devotion and surrender are natural. He rests in God, in unbroken, eternal communion. Let's let that sink in for a moment. Regardless of how difficult this journey has been, I must believe that I've still honored myself. I've had integrity. I've wanted to do things with God and for God this entire time. It has brought me to this place of complete surrender. And within me, it will not end. I'm going to be leaving Dharamshala this evening by bus for Delhi into potentially plus 40-degree temperatures. And I will be there for 4 days. So I'm excited to share that last part of my journey back to South Africa with you. Please reach out, connect, ask me any questions. I would love to channel more divine guidance for you. I would love to see this platform growing with like-minded star seeds and light workers and healers, and I would like to feel the growth of a conscious community. The divine in me honors the divine in you. Namaste.